From translation, RSV Revised Standard Version, this 149th day of the year, today we are reading passages, Nehemiah 12-13, Nehemiah chapter 12, verses 1 to 47. These are the priests and the Levites who went up with Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, Sariah, Jeremiah, Ezra, Amariah, Malach, Hattush, Shechaniah, Rehum, Meremoth, Iddo, Ginnithoi, Abijah, Mijamin, Mardiah, Bilgah, Shemaiah, Joiarib, Jediah, Salai, Amok, Hilkiah, Jediah. These were the chief of the priests and of their brethren in the days of Jeshua. And the Levites, Jeshua, Binnui, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Judah, and Mattaniah, who, with his brethren, was over the thanksgiving. Bakbukiah and Unni, their brethren, were over against them in the watches. And Jeshua was the father of Joachim, Joachim the father of Eliashib, Eliashib the father of Joiada, Joiada the father of Jonathan, and Jonathan the father of Jaddua. And in the days of Joachim were priests, heads of fathers' houses, of Sariah Moriah, of Jeremiah Hananiah, of Ezra Meshullam, of Amariah Jehohanan, of Malachi Jonathan, of Shebaniah Joseph, of Harim Adnah, of Merioth Helkai, of Iddo Zechariah, of Ginnethan Meshullam, of Abijah Zikri, of Miniamin, of Modiah Piltai, of Bilgah Shammua, of Shemaiah Jehinathan, of Joiarib Mattanai, of Jediah Uzi, of Salai Kalai, of Amok Eber, of Hilkiah Hashabiah, of Jediah Nethanel. As for the Levites, in the days of Eliashib, Joiada, and Johanan, and Jaddua, there were recorded the heads of fathers' houses of the Levites and of the priests, to the time of Darius the Persian. The sons of Levi, the heads of fathers' houses, were written in the book of the Chronicles to the time of Johanan, the son of Eliashib. And the chiefs of the Levites, Hashabiah, Sherebiah, and Jeshua the son of Kadmiel, with their brethren opposite them, to praise and to give thanks, according to the commandment of David the man of God, watch by watch. Mattaniah, Bakbukiah, Obadiah, Meshullam, Talmon, Akkub, were gatekeepers keeping the charge at the storehouses of the gates. These were in the days of Joachim the son of Jeshua, son of Jozadak, and in the days of Nehemiah the governor and of Ezra the priest, the scribe. And at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem they sought the Levites out of all their places, to bring them to Jerusalem to celebrate the dedication with gladness, with thanksgiving and with singing, with cymbals, harps, and lyres. And the sons of the singers were gathered together from the district around Jerusalem, and from the villages of the Netophathites, also from Beth Gilgal, and from the region of Jebah and Asmaveth, for the singers had built for themselves villages around Jerusalem. And the priests and the Levites purified themselves, and purified the people and the gates and the wall. Then I brought up the leaders of Judah onto the wall, and appointed 2 great thanksgiving companies to give thanks. One went to the right hand on the wall to the dung gate. And after them went Hoshiah and half of the leaders of Judah, and Azariah, Ezra, Meshullam, Judah, Benjamin, Shemaiah, Jeremiah, and certain of the priests' sons with trumpets. Zechariah the son of Jonathan, son of Shemaiah, son of Mattaniah, son of Micaiah, son of Zabdi, son of Asaph. And his brethren, Shemaiah, Aziel, Milalai, Gilalai, Mari, Nethanel, Judah, Hanani, with the musical instruments of David the man of God, and Ezra the scribe before them. At the fountain gate they went up by the stairs of the city of David, at the ascent of the wall, above the house of David, to the water gate on the east. And the other company of those who gave thanks went to the left, to the wall, and I followed them with half of the people, upon the wall above the tower of the ovens, to the broad wall, and above the gate of Ephraim, and above the gate of Yeshannah, and above the gate of the corner, and above the sheep gate, and they stood still at the guard gate. So the 2 companies of those who gave thanksgiving stood in the house of God, and I and half of the rulers with me, and the priests, Eliashib, Marciah, Miniamin, Micaiah, Elihonai, Zechariah, Hananiah with trumpets, and Marciah, Shemaiah, Eleazar, Uzi, Jeshua, Hananiah, Shemaiah, and Jeremiah, and certain of the priests' sons with trumpets. Zechariah the son of Jonathan, son of Shemaiah, son of Mattaniah, son of Micaiah, son of Zabdi, son of Asaph. And the singers sang with Jeshua his son and Kadmiel his brother, Binnui, Sherebiah, Jeshua, Kadmiel, and their sons and kinsmen, standing opposite them in Levitical dress. And the priests and the Levites purified themselves, and all the people, the gatekeepers, and the singers, and the Nethinim, and all who had separated themselves from the peoples of the lands to the law of God, each to his work. For in the days of David and Asaph there were chief of the singers, and songs of praise and thanksgiving to God. And all Israel in the days of Zerubbabel, and in the days of Nehemiah, gave the portions of the singers and the gatekeepers day by day, and set apart what was due for the Levites, and the Levites set apart what was due for the sons of Aaron. Nehemiah chapter 13, verses 1 to 31. On that day they read in the book of Moses, in the hearing of the people. And in it was found written that no Ammonite or Moabite should ever enter the assembly of God, for they did not meet the people of Israel with bread and water, but hired Balaam against them to curse them. Yet our God turned the curse into a blessing. When the people heard the law, they separated from Israel all those of foreign descent. Now before this, Eliashib the priest, who was appointed over the chambers of the house of our God, and who was related to Tobiah, had prepared for him a great chamber, where formerly they put the grain offering, the frankincense, the vessels, and the tithes of the grain, the wine, and the oil, which were given by commandment to the Levites, the singers, and the gatekeepers, and the contributions for the priests. But all this I did not do at that time, for Tobiah brought in a letter from him. And in the days of Nehemiah he came, with whom I was not pleased. So I threw out all the household furniture of Tobiah from the chamber. And I gave orders, and they cleansed the chambers. And I brought back the vessels of the house of God, with the grain offering and the frankincense. I also found out that the portions of the Levites had not been given them, so that the Levites and the singers who had performed the service had fled each to his field. So I contended with the rulers and said, Why is the house of God forsaken? And I gathered them together and set them in their stations. Then all Judah brought the tithe of the grain, wine, and oil into the storehouses. And I appointed over the storehouses Shelemiah the priest, Zadok the scribe, and Pedaiah of the Levites, and with them Hanan the son of Zaccur, the son of Mattaniah, for they were regarded as faithful. And their duty was to distribute to their brethren. Remember me, O my God, concerning this, and do not wipe out my good deeds that I have done for the house of my God, and for his service. In those days I saw in Judah people treading winepresses on the Sabbath, and bringing in heaps of grain, and loading them on asses or horses, or on any beast whatsoever, and bringing it into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And that day they did not sell their produce. Then I warned them and said to them, What evil thing is this that you do, and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers do this, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet we are not seeking the favor of the Lord our God, by turning from our wickedness, and giving attention to your commandments. Then I contended with the nobles of Judah, and said to them, What evil thing is this that you are doing, profaning the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers do this, and did not our God bring all this disaster upon us and upon this city? But now you are bringing more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath. So when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the doors should be shut, and that they should not be opened until after the Sabbath. And I set some of my servants over the gates, to prevent any burden from being brought in on the Sabbath day. Then the merchants and sellers of all kinds of wares lodged outside Jerusalem once or twice. But I warned them and said to them, Why do you lodge outside the wall? If you do so again, I will lay hands on you. From that time on they did not come on the Sabbath. I also commanded the Levites that they should purify themselves and come and guard the gates, to keep the Sabbath day holy. Remember this also in my favor, O my God, and spare your great mercy according to the greatness of your steadfast love. In those days also I saw Jews who had married women of Ashdod, Ammon, and Moab. And half of their children spoke the language of Ashdod, and they could not speak the language of Judah, but only the language of each people. And I contended with them and cursed them and struck some of them and pulled out their hair, and made them swear by God, saying, You shall not give your daughters to their sons, or take their daughters for your sons or for yourselves. Was it not because of things like these that Solomon king of Israel sinned? Among the many nations there was no king like him, and he was beloved by his God, and God made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him foreign women made to sin. Shall we then listen to you and do all this great evil, intermarrying with the peoples who do these abominable things? Even one of the sons of Joiada, the son of the high priest Eliashib, was the son-in-law of Sanballat the Horonite. Therefore I drove him away from me. Remember them, O my God, because they have defiled the priesthood and the covenant of the priesthood and the Levites. Thus I cleansed them from everything foreign, and I established the duties of the priests and Levites, each in his work. And I provided for the wood offering, at appointed times, and for the firstfruits. Remember me, O my God, for good.